I know one thing. I hope we are not gearing up for another war because what's going on is like China and Russia really has America on their hit list. And why is that? I really don't have an earthly idea why China and Russia has partnered up. They have partnered up with many countries in Africa. They have partnered up with China. So it's a lot of partnering up and a lot of maneuvering. It's a lot of chess moves going on right now. So what people might be like, what are you talking about, Antonio? U.S. military responded to Chinese and Russian vessels near Alaska. Now you already know that Russia is already not in the best of moods at the time when they sold um, Alaska to the United States. They really didn't think that excuse me, that it was nothing valuable in Alaska until they found out some of the world's largest oil areas are in Alaska. So, a Russian and Chinese naval patrol consisting of several vessels operated off the coast of Alaska last week. Now, this probably makes Sarah Palin feel a lot better about herself when she says she could see Alaska, see China from Alaska. So she probably in a real good mood saying that, right? All right. A show of force that prompted a U.S. military response, but did not pose a threat to the U.S. or Canada. So think about it now. If Russia attacks Alaska, then Canada gonna have to get on that ass too. It's just something that's gonna have to happen. You can't let them come that close to us without you getting on that ass. A U.S. Northern Command spokesperson told CNN NORTHCOM and the North American Aerospace Defense Command deployed planes and ships to monitor the Russian and Chinese patrol, which stayed in international waters, the spokesperson said. Alaska's Republican senators, Dan Sullivan and Lisa Murkowski, said in a statement Saturday that a total of 11 and Chinese vessels have been operating near the Aleutian Islands and were met in response by 4 U.S. Navy carriers. Murkowski said that she and Sullivan had been in close contact with leadership from Alaska Command for several days now and received detailed classified briefings about the foreign vessels that were transiting U.S. waters in the Aleutians. Chinese embassy spokesperson Lu Pengyu told CNN in a statement, according to the annual cooperation plan between the Chinese and Russian militaries, naval vessels of the two countries have recently conducted joint maritime patrols in relevant waters in the Western and Northern Pacific Ocean. This action is not targeted at any third party and has nothing to do with current international and region situation. Sure, it did. Sure, you're right. Sullivan said the Chinese and Russian vessels came summarily close to Alaska last summer and were encountered by a U.S. Coast Guard ship on a routine patrol at the time. And what I think is, honestly, I think this is some of their stuff where they're trying to get geared up and see the response from the United States. I don't think that they really want to go to war or want to do anything of such. But if they did, I think that Canada and the United States will have to do some things. Sullivan said the Chinese and Russian vessels came similarly close to the United States last summer and encountered by a U.S. ship, a routine patrol. I know I read it, so I'm just trying to catch up. A tepid response, the senator added, that led him to press senior military leaders to be ready and more robust response in the future. For that reason, I am heartened to see that the latest incursion was met with 4 U.S. Navy destroyers, which sends a strong message to Chinese President Xi Jinping and Russian President Vladimir Putin that the United States would not hesitate to protect and defend our vital national interests in Alaska. This reminds me of the game we played as a kid, with Battleship, right? Battleship and some components had chess components, in it. If you do this, we got to do this. But the object is to sink the battleship. But what you got to understand, for the people that don't know, U.S. Navy destroyers have jets, they have missiles, they have all of the above to take on or to get started with some of these carriers. But do we want war with China and Russia? No, you don't want that. That's not what you want. But what you got to understand is the United States is ready. Blake Herzinger, a research fellow at the United States Center in Australia, echoed the NORTHCOM response that the Chinese and Russian warships were not a threat and acted according to international law, just as the U.S. Navy vessels do when operating off of the Chinese and Russian coast. Basically, what they're trying to do is show two can play that game. But he said that the U.S. statement affirming that the navigation rights of the foreign warships were in contrast to reactions from Beijing to similar U.S. Navy sailings. Chinese response to similar operations in the Indo-Pacific hyped up imagined threats and broadcasted their military response as efforts to eject invaders from their waters, Herzinger said. Russia and China have intensified their defense and economic partnership considerably since Russia invaded Ukraine in February 2022, according to a July U.S. intelligence report. And the countries have repeatedly pledged to strengthen their military ties. So what they're trying to display, if you do anything to them, then you got to fight both of them. But the relationships be China. Also, I want to point this out too. In recent studies, since what's going on, the American people have purchased less from China in recent years. The U.S. imports rise in April, but shares of goods from China decreases. Where are we getting our goods from lately? I'm not sure, but I just want to show this briefly. Trade data out of the Commerce Department Thursday shows that the Americans brought more stuff from abroad in April than in March. More cars and car parts, more cell phones and household goods. But something of note, the share of imported goods from China declined to its lowest level since 2006. China is a producing powerhouse. Just think of those light sweatpants and home gym equipment. And what's going on now is that Americans are purchasing less from China. It's just because of significance value. I'm not clearly sure, but I definitely wanted to illustrate that what's going on in China itself. All right, so I'm gonna stay on top of this. Hopefully, nothing comes of this, as the United States needs to always protect its waters. But like the article points out, we do go on excursions in the same waters of China and Russia, and they do bring out warships also. But we're not ready for a war, people. We don't need a war. This is Antonio with Team Tiggio. Please like, comment, and subscribe, and we will see you in the next video. Hello. I was recording, Brad. I was recording. I believe it. I'm second.